everyone. We were discussing about different forms of business organization in series of videos. In that series, today we are going to discuss one of the form of business organization, which is joint stock companies. Joint stock companies. Today we are discussing what is a joint stock company, and we will discuss one definition, then features, merits or advantages of joint stock companies and limitations of joint stock companies. See, what is a joint stock company? This is a company which is registered in accordance with Indian Companies Act 1956. Okay. So let us start by its name. It is called joint stock companies. Joint stock companies. That means the stock collected jointly by the people or owners. That means the investment will be collected jointly from group of people. How it will be collected jointly? This capital will be subdivided into different units, and each such units will be collected from public. For example, if a company is registered with 1 lakh capital, or we can say rupees 10 lakh capital, collect 10 lakh rupees capital, that is the total capital of the business. So this capital is called share capital. Why it is called share capital? That means this amount will be subdivided into different shares or fractions. Okay. Suppose this share is divided into 1 lakh units. 1 lakh number of fractions. So each fraction will be 4 rupees 10. Okay. Then at the time when owners start the company, they will give advertisement in the newspaper or any media, or even through private arrangements. They will tell that in this company we have formed a company in which this much is the share capital. Out of that you can invest in the share capital. Like that they will give the advertisement and invite the public to purchase the share. So they will tell that you can buy share of the company by paying 10 rupees for one share. 10 rupees for one share of capital. So like that you can buy 1000 shares or 5000 shares, like that. Okay. So if you want to buy one share, you have to pay 10 rupees. If you want to buy 100 share, if you want to buy, you have to pay 1000 rupees. So that's why the capital of the company is called as share capital. Capital of the company is called as share capital. Why it is called share capital? Because the capital is divided into different shares or units. Okay. And these shares, if put together, that means collection of these shares which are fully paid up. So that collection of these shares are called stock. Suppose if you buy 100 share, we can say that you have purchased a stock of share or stock of capital. So people contribute for the stock of the capital of the company. That's why this is called joint stock companies. That means people purchase jointly of the stock of the company or share of the company. Is it clear? Then now let us explain what is a joint stock company. In order to explain that, we can say that one, or we can explain with the help of a definition given by Lord Justice Linley. Lord Justice Linley. He defines a company as: company is an artificial person. Artificial person created by law, having a common seal and a perpetual succession. This is the definition of a company. Company is an artificial person created by law having a common seal and perpetual succession. Company is an artificial person. Company is a person, but in artificial manner. We have told that a business is an entity or having existence. So the entity is just like a person. So we can say that company is also a person. What is the speciality? It's an artificial person. Why it is called an artificial person? It has no natural existence or vital existence like a human being. It is existed because of the enactment through a law or establishment through a law. So legal support, with the help of the legal support or with the help of the law, company comes into existence. That's why it is called an artificial person. Okay, an artificial person who created by law. Created by law. Which law? In India, company is created in accordance with the Indian Companies Act. Companies Act 1956. Indian Companies Act 1956. So that is the act by which the Indian companies are formed. This is the basic act. After that 1956 Act, lot of amendment came. Okay. Now the latest amendment is Indian Companies Amendment Act of 2013. This is the latest Companies Act. Indian Companies Amendment Act 2013. So it's an artificial person created by law having a common seal. That is the speciality, a common seal. Company has a seal and a person will be there called a signatory. What is the speciality of this seal? We have told that it's a person. The surety of the person is his signature. Since the company is not a natural person, company cannot sign. So in its place, in the place of the sign, company use its seal. Okay, so common seal is the signature of the company. Normally the director or the responsible person will be there holding the seal and he will be called as the signatory, authorized signatory. That means he can put the seal as the signature of the company. So common seal is the speciality and a perpetual succession. Perpetual succession means continuous existence. It has a continuous existence. That means the death or disablement of any of the owner of the company does not affect the existence of the company. The death or disablement of any of the owner will not affect the existence. If an owner dies also, the company will continue its function. That's why it has perpetual existence or continuous succession. Okay. So that is the speciality. So this is the definition given by Lord Justice Linley. So he says that company is an artificial person created by law having a common seal and perpetual succession. And like that, there is an act in the Indian or there is a definition in the Indian Companies Act 1956 also. That definition says that company is a company which is formed and registered under this act or any other act. Okay, company is a company formed or registered as per this act or an existing act. So this is the definition given in Indian Companies Act 1956. So no other separate definition is given, no other detailed definition is there. As per the Indian Companies Act, company is a company which is formed or registered as per this act. As per this act means Indian Companies Act 1956 or an existing act, or we can say that an existing company. Okay, so a company is a company which is formed and registered under this act or an existing company. Before the registration of this Companies Act also, if any company exists, that can be considered as a company. For example, you may be heard about East India Company. So like that, that is actually a company. That company only came into India first. That means Britishers, then they came, those people came here in the form by forming a company. That is called British East India Company. So like that, if any company exists before 1956, that also can be considered as a company or a company which is registered or formed in accordance with the Companies Act 1956. That also can be considered as a company. Okay. So company, in order to say an organization is a company, it should be registered as per the Indian Companies Act 1956 or should be an existing company. Okay. Now let us see what are the features of joint stock company. Features of joint stock company. What are the features of joint stock companies? The first one we can say, company is an artificial person. Artificial person. Company is a person created by law. It's not an ordinary or natural person. It is an artificial person created by law. So company is an artificial person created by law. That means this came into existence because of the establishment through an act. So act given the power to exist like a human being. Okay. Then next, it has separate entity. Separate legal entity, we can say. Separate legal entity. Company has a separate legal entity. Company can exist its own. The owners or the shareholders of the company cannot be called, or they are considered as an independent existence. They are separate from the company. So company has separate existence. Legal status is there. Legal existence is there. Okay. So separate existence is there. We have studied that what is an entity. Something which has a separate existence. Business organizations are considered as entities. Like this company is also having separate existence. Especially it is registered as per the Indian Companies Act 1956. So it has a separate existence. Okay. Then another important thing is regarding its formation. So far, while studying other business organization, other forms of business organization, we have told that formation is easy. Here the formation is not so easy. It takes its own time, or for formation we have to go through certain hard and fast rules. So that rules are to be followed for forming a business organization. So simply we cannot form a company form of business organization. It has its own steps and procedures. We have to follow all those steps and procedures. So around 5 different steps are there in the formation of the company that we will study in the next class. Okay. So all those steps are to be satisfied according to the priority or according to the order. After that only we can start the business of a company. Okay. Then we have to say the next point, that is regarding the perpetual succession. Perpetual succession. Perpetual succession. Perpetual succession means continuous existence. Company has a continuous existence. Perpetual succession is there. That means we have already told the death of the owner or any of the disablement or any of the inconvenience of the owner will not affect the existence of the business. Okay. So company has the back support of the Indian Companies Act 1956. So it has a separate legal status as well as continuous existence. So that is another important feature. Then let us see the next one. Fifth one we can say the regarding control. Control. See, as far as a joint stock company is concerned, sometimes it may have 1,000 members or 1,000 owners or more than 1,000 owners may be there. Thousands of owners may be there. So in that case, all the owners cannot come and control the business of the company. So at that time, what they will do? They will elect the members to control the business. Okay. So selected representatives of the owners will act as the board of directors to control the day-to-day activities of the company. There, for selecting a person or selecting the board of directors, a shareholder can exercise votes according to the number of shares purchased by him. In cooperative society, we have told that one person, one vote. Here, voting is on the basis of the number of shares. So one vote, one share, one vote. That is the procedure. So if a person has purchased one share, he can exercise one vote. Okay. Sorry. He can exercise one vote. So if he has 1,000 shares, he will have 1,000 votes. So normally, this board of directors will consist of a person who will be considered as the chairman of the company. Normally, who will become the chairman of the company? Who purchase more number of shares. How he can become the chairman? Because the person who is having more number of shares will have more number of votes. He can put vote for him, isn't it? So he may exercise vote for or vote for him. So like that, he can, if he has large number of shares, most number of shares are held by him, if he can become the chairman. And apart from him, a board of directors will be there. So that board of directors and the chairman will control the day-to-day activities of the business. Then let us see the next one regarding liability. Liability. The liability of the members or the liability of the owners of the company is limited. They will have limited liability. That means they will have liability on the unpaid amount of shares held by them. Unpaid amount of the shares held by them. What do you mean by unpaid amount of the shares held by them? Suppose we have told that the value of a share is 10. So this share at the time of issue of shares, company may not collect the entire amount at that time. Company may collect the money in installments. Company may collect the money in installments. Suppose after this, company may collect first time along with the application for share, company may collect 2 rupees. Afterwards again, company may ask to remit some more money, say 3 rupees. Next, after some time, company may inform the shareholders to pay 3 more rupees. Okay, now how much it became? 8 rupees. Okay, means 2 rupees so far not called. So how much is not called? 2 rupees not called. This is called unpaid amount or uncalled money. Company has not called, uncalled, so it is not paid. So what is the liability of the owner? That's what we are going to see here. Suppose company has called only up to 8 rupees per share. So if at that time if the company incurs a huge amount of loss or liability, in order to settle that liability after selling all the assets, if any money is needed, how much money a shareholder should give? 2 rupees should give. 8 rupees already given, that has gone. So after that, now how much he has to pay? That outstanding amount of 2 rupees. If he has purchased 1,000 shares, how much he has to pay now? 2,000 rupees will be his loss. Okay. So if any uncalled money is there, that much only he needs to pay. He need not bring any other money extra that other than this money. He need not pay any money from his personal property. That is what is called limited liability. But apart from this, already company is collected full money. All the 10 rupees is collected already. In that case, he need not pay further amounts. Okay, that is regarding the liability. The next point we can say that common seal. Company has common seal. That means company will have that its own share or its own signature. Company itself cannot put its signature because it is not a natural person. In order to overcome that problem or that situation, company has a separate arrangement that is called seal, the rubber stamp of the company. So that will be used as the signature of that company. Okay. Now we are going to see the last feature of the company, that is risk bearing. Risk bearing. Who will bear the risk? Risk will be borne by all the owners. So that is also up to the limited. That is also limited to the unpaid amount of shares held by them. They need not bear risk beyond that money. Okay, that risk will be spread among them up to the amount of money unpaid for their shares held. Other than that, there is no other responsibility or risk. Okay, so risk is there with every business, but that risk is limited to the unpaid money or unpaid amount for the shares held by them. Okay, so these are all the features of the joint stock companies. Okay. Advantages of a company form of business organization or advantages of joint stock company. So we are going to see that what are the advantages for the company form of business organization or joint stock company. The most important advantage is its limited liability. Limited liability. Company has the liability of the owners of the company is limited. That means they need not bring any money beyond the capital contributed by them. Okay, so it has a limited liability. Then this we have already discussed. So let us move to the next point. Another one is transfer of interest. Transfer of interest. Here the transfer of interest means transfer of ownership. Our interest in the business is our ownership in the business. So transfer of interest says that we can change or we can at any time sell our capital to anybody else. Suppose you have purchased 100 shares of a company. That you can sell at any time to anyone. Okay, that means suppose you can buy 100 shares of Tata Iron and Steel Limited, Tata Iron and Steel Limited, then you will become the owner of Tata Iron and Steel Limited. You also a company owner. Okay. So today you are purchasing that share. After that, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you feel that oh, let it sell or it can be sold. So immediately you can find a broker. For share brokers are there. You can find a share broker and through him you can sell it to somebody. Okay. You may have heard about capital markets. So in that capital market is the market for dealing in shares or other securities. So in that capital market, you can sell your shares. That is possible. So transfer of interest is another important advantage. At any time, you can sell your holdings or you can sell your shares. That is the speciality of joint stock company. So limited liability we have told, and transfer of interest also is there. Regarding transfer of interest and stock exchange and all, we will study in detail in second year reading. Okay, second year we will study. Next year we will study. Okay, that will be there in one of the chapters separately. Now, the next point is perpetual existence. Perpetual existence, but it is continuous existence. Business has a continuous existence. Joint stock company has a continuous existence. So if something happens to the owner, that will not affect the existence of the company. Okay, or the incapabilities of the owners will not affect the existence of the company. That is another advantage. Company has continuous existence. The next one we can say that scope for expansion. Company can expand beyond any limit. Beyond any limit in the sense, at any time, company can increase the size or increase the business. How? At any time, company can issue shares. Suppose we have told that 10 lakh rupees capital is collected for 10 lakh rupees. After some time, if the company feels that some more shares can be issued, at that time, if company is freely can issue shares. Okay. So beyond a certain limit, if the company wants to issue, company has to what called the general body meeting, and in that meeting 3/4 members should favor the issue of shares, and apart from that, company has to get permission from the company law board. After that, company can issue shares beyond a certain limit. Up to that limit, no problem, company can issue shares at any time. Beyond that limit, certain specific consents are to obtain. Okay. Anyway, company can expand its business by issuing shares. That feature is also there. That is another important advantage. The next one we can say professional management. Professional management is another advantage of company. How it becomes an advantage, or how professional management is possible. Company is having huge amount of capital. If you compare with any other forms of business, company can have a huge amount of capital. Huge capital contribution is there. So sales will be there that much. Income will be there that much. Profit will be there that much. So with that money, they can afford to employ qualified personnel. In order to employ qualified personnel, we have to pay them more amount of salary that a company can afford. So in that way, company can increase the management or efficiency of the management by employing more qualified personnel. Okay, so professional management is one of the most important advantage of joint stock companies. Then now let us discuss what are the limitations. So these are the various advantages. Now let us see the limitations. What are the limitations of a company? One of the most important limitation is complexity in formation. Complexity in formation. Complexity in formation. We have told that formation of the company is not an easy task. It has its own time or its own time-taking functions are there or processes are there. So that much complex it is. Its procedure for the starting of the company will take its own time. That is Kubercom, it is a Kubercom process. So lot of difficult steps are there for forming a business organization in the form of company. That we will study in the coming classes. Okay. Anyway, it is complex in nature. We have told that 4 or 5 different steps are there. So in each of such steps, we have to satisfy various norms and procedures. Okay. So it is a complex task. The next one, lack of secrecy. There is no secrecy in the business of joint stock company. Why? Because the owners of the company are general public in certain cases. Otherwise also there will be more number of people. So in order to communicate this information to them, they have to communicate all the financial information to the owners. For that they have to sometimes publish their books of accounts or the final accounts in a widely circulated newspaper or any of the media. So if something is published, it cannot be considered as a secret one. So no secret is there for a joint stock company. Everything, all the financial matters of the company will be public. Okay, so lack of secrecy is another important limitation. Then let us see the next one. Impersonal work environment. Impersonal work environment. Say we have studied about sole proprietorship business. Their owner will be the manager of the business and he will have a direct contact with his employees, those who are working in that business. In partnership also, somewhat that relation can be developed or personal contact will be there. Okay. But in the case of company, just I have told here that suppose you have purchased some shares of Tata Iron and Steel Industries Limited. Then you are also the owner of that company or the industry. So if somebody asks that, do you know that some particular worker in Tata Iron and Steel Industries, you may not be knowing any of the workers, even though you are the owners of the business. So owners may be there situated various part of the country. They may not be knowing any of the employees working in the business. So it is impersonal in nature. Impersonal work environment is another important thing. That means there may not be any relation between worker and owners. Workers may be related to the management. That means other employees, manager and other employees. But they may not have any contact or any knowledge, personal interaction or personal knowledge may not be there between the owners and workers. That is another important disadvantage. Impersonal work environment. Since there is impersonal work environment, workers may not be that much loyal to the business organization because they are doing the work and getting the salary and they don't know that who are the employees. Isn't it? So personal rapport between the employees and owners may not be there. So that much loyalty cannot be expected from them. Okay. Then another important limitation is its numerous regulations. there are lot of rules and regulations or acts are there which controls the companies in India. Lot of acts and other things are there. So we have already told one of the acts, Indian Companies Act 1956. Apart from that, Indian Contract Act is there. Then Mercantile Law is there. Sale of Goods Act is there. Then Consumer Protection Act is there. So all those laws and acts are there, and within that framework only the company can function. So numerous regulations are there which control the company form of business organization. Okay. Then the next point we can say that delay in decision making. In order to take a policy decision, that means a major decision related to the business, sudden or quick decision is not at all possible, because that decision has to come from the board of directors, means the owners. So calling all the owners for taking a decision is sometimes is not possible. So in that case, at least the board of directors have to come together to take a decision. So coming together of all these all these managers or all these directors, board of directors at a time will take its own time. Okay, so a sudden or quick decision is not at all possible in the case of joint stock companies. And let us see the last point of disadvantage, that is oligarchic management. Oligarchic management. What do you mean by oligarchic management? So oligarchic management, or we may have heard about democratic management in cooperative societies. Their management is democratic, means all are equal there. Here oligarchic management. We have told that in a company form of business organization there may be thousands of owners, but all those owners will not come and manage the business. Even though there are number of owners, the actual ownership or control of the company will be vested in the hands of few people. Management by a few people is called as oligarchic management, with a limited number of people, a countable number, or very less number of owner or management. So management will be in the hands of a very less number of people. That system is called oligarchic management. We have told that more number of people are there, even though it is just like an organization which is controlled by few people. Sometimes we have told that chairman, he may be having most number of shares. So the decisions, the major decisions, for taking a major decision, contributions may not be there from all the or many of the owners. He himself may take the decisions because he has the power of because he has that many number of shares. So sometimes few owners only will take the decisions related to company. So oligarchic management is another important demerits or limitations. So far we have discussed the concept of joint stock company, definition of joint stock company, and then features, merits and demerits. Okay, that's the end of for today. Thank you.